Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Charlotte. I am the trauma-informed teacher. That does not just have to do with the types of videos that I produce. I have gone through some pretty tough things in a personal way. And so on my channel, I talk to teachers about ways that they can balance self-care with their profession, still come out on top and do a great job for their students, but also taking care of their families. I'm taking this video from Southern Maryland, which this is my parents' house. I'm on vacation. So I am visiting family over the 4th of July week and trying to decompress a little bit. And also I'm trying to catch up with you. It's been quite a while since I've been on here. I was trying to do some videos at the end of the school year and it just didn't really work out. There was too much going on with trying to start summer school and it slipped away. Time slipped away from me. So it's probably been like a good month since I've really done any video recording or editing. I did put together the quick video of things that we did with Grayson back in April, but I've had some requests from moms of young kids to give them an idea of what can I do with my kid over the summer so they, number one, have a good time, and number two, don't drive me crazy in the process. There are a lot of parents that are still working, possibly remotely, and trying to balance that with watching children over the summertime. So I'm going to kind of share with you things that I did. Our kids are grown now. Our youngest is turning, well, she's 19 and a half. So, you know, we have 3 daughters. You know, it's been a while. But I do remember, like, in the summertime, especially as a teacher, because I needed to come down off of my, you know, school year and rest and relax and not be on 24/7, that you need some things that your kids can do that, you know, maybe you get them started, but then you have some time to yourself. So I hope that you will enjoy these. Obviously, what I give you, it worked for my family. You're going to have to personalize it to your own family. You know the things that you want to achieve over the summer. You know, time slots that you need to make sure are always, you know, a certain activity is always happening during that time slot. So take my suggestions and tweak them and make them your own and make them work for you. But this is just something that I've had a request for, so I hope that it will be helpful to you and that someone will get something out of it. So if you like it, share it with a friend. I always welcome new followers. You don't have to be a teacher to enjoy and get something out of my channel. All right, so here we go. So the schedule that I'm going to show you, when I used this schedule, the oldest was probably in maybe 3rd or 4th grade. The middle one was probably, let's see there, so she would have been like 1st grade or kindergarten, and the youngest was not yet in school. So I had one good reader, one who was learning to read, and then one who was just along for the ride. So you might have to adapt this a little bit depending on the ages of your kids, like where my kids could read the schedule for themselves. If you had all non-readers, then you would have to maybe do some pictures with your schedule. Picture cards work great. Little icons that you print out of the different activities you do different times every day can be helpful to you. But feel free to take the schedule and change it to meet your own family's needs, change the activities, change the times, whatever you need to do. This is just, you know, I'm offering you something as a starting point, and you can make a schedule that works for your family and whatever you need to do. All right, so let's open up the schedule. All right, so the very first thing that I did was I created my schedule. I actually made mine on scratch paper just with pencil and a ruler because I knew I was going to need to make some changes until I got it the way that I wanted it. I have this here for your convenience so you can see it, and I'll link this in the description box so that you can take a look at mine. You can make your own in Google if you want, but I actually got the large poster boards that were like bright colors, and once I had my schedule narrowed down, I created a large visual of the schedule. I did morning on one, and I did afternoon, evening on the other poster board, and I hung them up. I had used Sharpie, and I made the writing large so I could see it across the room, in another part in our house, so that it was very easy for us to look up and consult the schedule whenever we wanted. All right, so you've got your days across the top, you've got your hours across the left side, and I just kind of gave you an idea of what times our family would consider to be the first hour of the day in the summertime, but like I said, tweak it to make it work for you. All right, so every day I had certain activities that I knew my kids were going to have to do. For example, getting up and getting dressed for the day was a requirement in our house. Making their bed was also a requirement, which I didn't type in here, but that's something that we did. And then I had my lunchtime at a certain time every single day of the week, and dinner time at a certain time, chore time at a certain time that coincided with it was like close to the dinner hour. I had reading time at a certain time so that they were busy doing something while I was making dinner, and that made my life a lot easier. And then bath time at a certain time. So I kind of went in and I just put in those things that I knew were had tos. If you have a place that your family has to go every day, you could put that in first. And then I would have activity time every day. I personally put in specific types of activities for certain days of the week, but I found this really cool one on Pinterest that is like a days of the week. You might enjoy using this. And I put this into my summer schedule because I couldn't really remember the activities that I had personally planned for my children on certain days of the week. So Make It Monday would be like a craft or art day. Learning Tuesday would be a class on something that your children are interested in, or anything that you have them do so that they keep their skills up for this over the summertime for the next school year. That's for Tuesday. On Water Wednesday, you get out everything water that you have at your house and let them just go to town. Take a trip. Thursday would be a simple trip, not too far away, just a little scenic drive, go to the movies, do something cheap and fun, go to the playground. You can get as creative or simple with this as you feel like and as you are able to at this stage in your family's life. Some weeks are going to be, fancier than others. Foodie Friday is an opportunity for your kids to make a snack for themselves, work in the kitchen, learn how to do some things, basic everyday skills. Or you can go to a food truck and just get something yummy that day. And then Saturdays were always a day that we left for family outings and things that we would do for the summer to make it special. So I will link this in the description and you can take a look at it, but there are other ones that you can look at that if you don't like this one, you might like another one. So that's what I used for my activities for each day. All right, so the beginning of the day always starts off the same. One of the things that I noticed with my own children was that they would try to get up earlier in the morning than I was really ready to get up. Not a morning person. Maybe you are. I like to take my mornings slow in the summertime, especially as a teacher needing to recharge. So I made my children play in their rooms in the morning, and I gave them specific things that they could do. You can create what's called a morning basket. This is something that I learned from the homeschool community, that a lot of homeschool moms start off the day quietly with certain activities that are in there in a basket, and they call it the morning basket. Well, you can create a morning basket for your own children that they can use in their rooms when you want them to do quiet play if they happen to wake up, like say an hour before you actually want them to be up every day. So it's kind of like, okay, I will set an alarm, or if they are old enough they can read the clock, then by looking at the clock that you're not allowed to wake mommy and daddy up until this time unless there's a problem. And so then you work in your morning basket. You play out of your morning basket. You can stick little books in there if you have readers that enjoy reading. You can put little, toys in there, smaller toys. Whatever you want to do for your morning basket is up to you. You know what interests your child that will keep them busy and not making a mess during that time, that they can do quietly in their rooms. So there are lots of ideas for morning baskets online. You can look them up. Most people don't use them for this purpose. Most people, when you like Google morning basket, it's going to be like homeschool, like what do you do with your kids for the first hour of the day. But you can modify it and make it work for independent activities for your kids that will be quiet and engaging when they wake up early. So that's a little tip to help you sleep in a little bit and get some rest, especially if you're a teacher. Then I considered 8 o'clock to be the first hour of the day for our family. Um, they would get up, get dressed, they would, wash their face, brush their teeth, brush their hair if they were old enough to do it themselves, or bring me the hairbrush if they're not old enough. And I also had my kids make their beds every day, obviously in a kid way. So I wasn't like doing a test. I didn't go in the rooms and check on them and make sure everything was perfect, but it's just a habit that I was trying to get them to do. And then breakfast. And when I say breakfast, I mean something simple. If you love to make breakfast for your family every morning, and you're that kind of person that likes to cook breakfast because you're a morning person, then by all means go for it. That wasn't me. I was just lucky that I was feeding my children in the morning because I was still waking up myself. So I used to do a trick where I would like cut up baggies of things like fruit or something that my kids like to eat. I would put it on the bottom shelf of the refrigerator in a specific section, and they knew that that was fair game for breakfast. I would put some cereal in an individual sized bowl and put a little half a cup of milk next to it with, room on top so that they wouldn't slosh it when they were pouring. They could pour it in their cereal and then they were ready to eat. So whatever your kids can do on their own, it makes your life a lot easier getting started in the morning, and it just makes your morning routine like smooth and calm. But like I said, if you're the mom who loves to make breakfast, then go for it. Don't let me stop you. The first hour after breakfast was free play, which normally this is where parents stop, and that's a mistake that they make because they just let their kids free play all day. And if you do that, you're going to find if you have multiple children that they're going to start fighting with each other because they just get bored and they don't know what to do next. They don't have great decision-making skills and planning out their time for their day. So having some activities ready for the next hour after that free play hour it really made my life a lot better because I had less fights in my house. If you have only one child, usually what will end up happening is they'll start whining and they'll be really needy and clingy, and that's when you know they don't know what to do with themselves. So having the schedule of activities for every day of the week was a great way to fix that. All right, so here's where the third hour of the day, 10 a.m. for us, is where it comes in with your activities that I was showing you. So it would be like Make It Monday, where you say, okay, now we have all of these materials you can use, and you can either make this, here's a choice that you can make, or you can make your own thing, come up with something creative, and they could work on that the third hour and the fourth hour of the day. I would serve a snack like halfway into this 10 o'clock time. And that way they knew their snack was at the same time every day. After that couple of hours, then I would send them outside as long as the weather was permitting, and they would have an hour of outside time while I was getting lunch ready. Now, I had like a situation where I could observe my children out a big bay window from my kitchen, so I could keep an eye on them. Obviously, depending on where you live, you might not want to send your children out without you actually being out there. So doing that as a way to give you an opportunity to make a meal might not work for you depending on your setup, but it worked for me. Lunch was at the same time every day, all week long, so that made them less likely to complain about when they were eating because they just knew what time of the day they got to eat. After lunch, we went back to the activity of the day, but if they're already done and they don't feel like doing it, they can free play. But, that just having that activity for the day and knowing they completed it, if they're free playing, then, that seemed to satisfy my kids to where I didn't have a lot of like, I don't know what to do. I'm bored. There's nothing to do. And then the next hour, 3 o'clock, that was their tech time. So they could watch TV, they could play a video game, get on the computer, anything like that. Obviously, within eye shot of me so that I could keep an eye on what they were doing on the computer. But that was 1 hour every day when they were allowed to do that. my sister, she homeschools her kids, and she makes her kids earn their tech time by doing sit-ups and push-ups and other exercises. So that's another option that you could consider. The second snack of the day was offered around 4 o'clock, and then I had magical room time. This actually was an idea that my mom gave me because my kids, when they aged out of naps, I noticed that they would fight in the afternoon every day. It was about the same time every day. And I said, Mom, they fight every day at this time, and they're driving me crazy, and I need some time to myself. And she's like, well, then make time for yourself. Give them some time when they have to stay in their rooms apart from each other so they won't fight, and maybe they'll take a nap, and maybe they'll just like decompress and get quiet. But either way, when they come out of room time, they'll be in a better mood. And it actually works. It works really well. So if your kids have aged out of nap time, or if they're just not nappers at all, ever, then room time is a great way for you to get some time to yourself. You can do something quiet, read a book, whatever, get a chore done if you really need to when the kids aren't around, but they're safe in their rooms. And I never made my kids sleep. I never made them do anything in their rooms during room time. I just said, you have to stay in your room, you have to stay quiet. In fact, my kids' rooms were like kind of like on a little, they're at the end of the hallway, so one was here, one was across the hall, and one was at the end. And I never like bothered them if they would sneak out into each other's rooms as long as they weren't fighting. And it seemed like that time where they knew they had to like calm down and be quiet. They did things with each other. They wouldn't fight, but if they were out around the house, they were arguing and causing a problem. So I love room time in the summertime. Then when they come back out of room time, it's time for me to be making dinner. So I made that time for the reading hour. So I had kids that they could read, or they had an older sibling that could read to them. But if you don't have kids that can read, then you can just give them a big stack of books or a little box of books, and they can look through the pictures and tell themselves a story. You might have to model that with them a few times, but they can do it. Like the longer they go with keeping themselves engaged with a book without parents, it just emphasizes that they're able to do that on their own, and it makes them have some feeling of success with books. And of course, I sat and read with my kids at other times. I read with them before bed. I'd hold them in my lap in the middle of the afternoon if I had a break. The schedule does not have to be, you have to do this exactly all day long. But the schedule was more for like, if we didn't know what to do, then we've got the schedule. If we ended up doing something else, okay, it's all right. I was flexible. But the schedule was to make sure that my kids knew what was coming next on most days. And if we wanted to do something different that day, then I allowed it. All right, so we've got reading hour and then dinner. And of course, sometimes during reading hour, my older child would help me get dinner ready. I would do little things like make the kids set the table or whatever before Dad got home, and then we would sit down and eat together. I put a chore time in here. I don't know that this is exactly when I did my chore time, but I did have a chore time with my kids every day. I may have made mine earlier in the morning. You'll have to experiment, see what works for you. But I only made it like 30 minutes. I didn't give my kids any chores that were like super, super hard at that age. It wasn't until they got older that I started asking them to do more difficult and longer chores. But just a little bit every day so they get in the habit and they're learning how to do things. And then at 7, about 7:30, I allowed them to work on a hobby. And my kids, of course, had to share the bathtub, their bathtub that was close to their bedroom. So I alternated baths, and some of them would be working on their hobby still, and then we would, take turns in the bath or the shower after that. So then at the end of the day, it's a good idea to have something that's like calming before they go to bed. So I just put in kids yoga. I didn't do kids yoga with my kids in the evenings. Don't exactly remember what I did in the evenings, but I remember that I just try to bring it down for them so that whatever we did after like bath and shower time was like not crazy, and they were ready for bed then. So that's like a day, okay? And then basically Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are the same, It's just that I have substituted the other activities that we talked about here on the summer schedule each day for the activity time. So it starts off the same, and a lot of the blocks are the same throughout the week, but on Tuesday, it's Learning Tuesday instead of Make It Monday at the same times. So they really get into this routine and they know like kind of how the flow of their day works. And if you need to make like picture cards, cue cards, print out some kids doing some of these types of activities and have that, to where you can show like a toddler or, one that's a little bit older but not ready for school yet, can't read yet, then you can do that and it works wonders. On Thursday, we would usually go to like the library. We had like the summer reading program, and I would often take my kids to, change out their books. I like to go at least every other week, if not every week, to the library with my kids. And I think they became strong readers because I made it fun. It was like, oh, yay, we get to go change out books. And I got to change out my books. And that way I was showing them that reading was fun and important and something I wanted to spend time on. And then what I would say about Foodie Friday is that I would have whatever they're going to make. I would have the pieces or ingredients like kind of measured out maybe on a cookie sheet and kind of set up ahead of time. So like on Thursday nights when my kids went to bed, I would get that kind of thing ready so that and then stick it in the fridge so that I didn't have to do a lot on that day. It was kind of like ready for them to go. Or sometimes we'd just go and eat something special that day if we were doing, a food-related activity. It doesn't always have to be something they make. And then, of course, on Saturdays, we had family outings, so that's going to depend on how far away we wanted to go that day. Wanted to go to like an orchard, pick strawberries, or, go to the zoo or anything like that. And some of the things are going to be just right around town where there'll be smaller outings. It just depends on what you feel like that week as a family. Tried to keep dinner about the same time. And then I had a family movie night scheduled in on Saturday nights. This might work for you better on a Friday night, so if that's what works for your family, then put it whatever day you like to have it. On Sunday, our mornings were taken up because our family always served at church, so we had multiple services, so we would usually serve one and sit one service. So we had 3 hours that were taken up by that on Sunday mornings. That was just not something I had to schedule. But, if you have that time open, then you can fill it with whatever you'd like your family to be doing on Sunday. The morning routine was the same. They had free play when we got home. Then they would have lunch. And then I put in family nap time, which I didn't make my kids sleep, but they had to be quiet and let us sleep. So once again, that was something where maybe I'd let them watch a kid's movie, or they would go in each other's rooms and play while we took our nap. Snack was at the same time. As far as snacks, like in the summertime, I don't know if this happens with you, but with my kids, they would eat snacks all day long if I let them. So having 2 specific snack times every day kept them from overeating just because they were bored. That's not healthy for them to just eat all day long. And also I had like bins of things in the refrigerator and in the pantry that were set aside in individual portions so that they could just grab one and that was their snack. Maybe like a juice box or something like that to go with it. And then I always had a time on Sunday evenings where they would spend a little bit of time straightening up their room and resetting their outfits for the week. So I really liked this, whether we were in school or out of school, where my kids picked out their outfits for the entire week on Sunday night. It makes your life so much easier getting out the door, whether you're, just going to the park or, if you're actually going to school. It doesn't matter. Having their outfits for the whole week. And I bought one of those little canvas organizers that hangs in the closet for each kid. We put their outfits in for each day and put their shoes in the bottom. It was such a time saver. So that's what we did at 7 o'clock on Sunday nights. And then bath or shower time. And I put in my weekly journal here. What that is I was big about having my kids write about the places that we went and the things that we did. And sometimes I would make them write right when we got home when they could still remember. But I just put that in here to remind me to talk to you about it. It's a great way to encourage reading and writing in the summertime, and something that they're interested in talking about. And then I gave my kids an hour of TV time with the family on Sunday evenings before bed. So there is my schedule. That is the basics of what I did with my kids. It worked really well for us. I hope that you'll find something in it that will help you enjoy your summer more with your children. If this sparked any ideas for you, or if there's other things that you try at your house that work for you, please make a comment in the comment section so that other people can benefit from your ideas. This is not the only way to do it, but just having a plan, I think it really helps your kids enjoy their summer more, because they're not wondering what's happening next. Are we going to do anything today? They know that we're going to do something. They kind of know what's going to happen, and you can flex any day that you want to change up the schedule, but you have something to go back to. So I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, leave your ideas in the comments so that we can see what you're doing with your kids. I hope everybody has a great day. It's beautiful here. Getting ready to go inside and have dinner in a few minutes with my family. And wherever you are, don't forget to work hard, be kind, and amazing things will eventually happen. Bye-bye.